Hey everybody, before we get started, just remind you this episode brought to you by our patrons like Adam DeHarp, Aga Comics, Aga Kazime, Architect 10, Blackest G, Carlos, Qua, Ferris, Jeremy Vasquez, Jonathan Sandoval, Kaiten, Legendary Boss Hunter, Liam Kessler, Regent Raptor, Rogue Robin, Charvor, Shawnee P, some guy named Bob, Soda Sun over 2023. If you like who you do want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon and get access to episodes early on, so crazy and help us out. Thank you for your support, everybody. Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Talk FGO Wanted, the show where we let you know if you want to roll a 5-star, and sometimes limited 3 stars, and then in summer we just do everybody including the 5 stars. So, we're doing that. Now today is slightly different than a lot of the usual stuff. This is a 5-star, but they are not a limited unit. Today we are going to be talking about a new, and so far only, permanent MoonCancer, Ganesha. Character upcoming in the Lost Belt 4 banner that will be happening soon. Like the 2nd, probably, or the night of the 3rd, technically. Whatever, you'll know by the time you're watching this, because that's when I will have posted it publicly. So, I want to start this off with a separate bit from my usual opening rigmarole, and I want to say, since Ganesha is a figure from still living religions, Hinduism being one of the oldest contiguous living religions on Earth, I want to preface this by saying everything I'm about to say is related to the context of FGO. And how FGO does stuff. If is anything said that's counter to your own belief, I apologize. I'm not really trying to dispute anybody's faith or beliefs or anything. I'm just relaying the context as related to what the writers of FGO have laid out. Okay? So, hopefully everything here is not offensive. This is mostly related to my own researching and specific researching of various text, bodies of work, tellings. Because, there's usually a few versions of some things. And so on that is related to what's going on with FGO. Speaking of which, this is Wanted, a show where we will break down the thing into 4 rough segments. We're going to talk about a character's IRL history and folklore, various either historical context to them, myths, whatever. We'll talk about their fate lore with a capital L, how the specific character is presented in Fate, and often ways that they do them weird. Their actual mechanics, that often helps people decide if they want to roll a character, what they do, and their rarity. Not their star rarity, but how frequent their raid-ups are. Though you're going to hear me say this a lot. Remember, Ganesha is a permanent unit, so after her banner ends, you can roll there. Or his banner. It's a bit of confusion. We're going to talk about that. Anyway, let's jump into the first segment. Okay, so before I start relaying real-life history and stuff, I apologize about pronunciation. We here at Studio Omega are bad at things. I'm going to try my best, but I make no promises. It can't be any worse than my horrific pronunciation of Chinese phonemes, which are written poorly. Anyway, Ganesha, also known as Ganapati or Vinayaka, is a massively well-known and popular Hindu deity who, as an extension, is also worshipped in Jainism and Buddhism. Okay? Pretty simple. Ganesha is the deva of intellect and wisdom, the patron of letters, arts, and sciences. Sciences. Let me make sure my emphasis is correct on my own script notes. And also the god of beginnings and the remover of obstacles. So that last bit is very important, obviously. You'll see all these things referenced later, but so big deal. Ganesha is also very famous for having an elephant head. There are many versions of the story as to why, but the version picked up by FGO is that Ganesha is created by Parvati, that one, to stand guard while she bathes, and she tells Ganesha to let no one pass. When Shiva comes to see his wife, Ganesha is like, nobody can pass. So Shiva kills him, and then as usual, Parvati has to call him out for his wanton murder machine actions, and so Shiva restores Ganesha's to life, but can't find his original head because he tore it off. So he replaces it with an elephant head. As usual, Shiva just can't stop killing things for no reason. I'm sure that there's lots of good things that Shiva does, but I've just realized in the context of FGO, most of the stories they have related to Shiva are just Shiva gets annoyed and blows somebody up. Should we maybe do something about that, FGO? Anyway, that's where the elephant head came from. Now, from there, Ganesha's extended relations are a little bit muddled, depending on the source text you're looking at. Ganesha can be related to Parvati and Shiva, being directly their kid. Just one of them, made just by Parvati or just by Shiva. A kid they found in the wilderness. Weird wilderness baby. Often, these complex relationships has Ganesha placed as brother with Kartikeya. I can't do you any better, I don't know. Who is a god of war, and which brother is older or younger often switches between different regions, records, and stories, leading to some interesting tension there. Now, in some texts, Ganesha is unmarried, And in other texts, he's linked with 3 concepts of intellect, spiritual power, and prosperity, who are personified as goddesses, who are his wives. So once again, very big deal guy, in charge of a lot of things, related to a lot of people. In the Shiva Purana, which is one of the major Hindu texts, Ganesha is said to have 2 sons who represent safety and profit. Wow, Ganesha seems really important, involved in a lot of things. Funny how that works. Anyway, in art, Ganesha's most depicted Vahana, which is a term which means mount or vehicle, is a rat or a mouse. So is this the source of mice and elephants jokes? I don't know. Ganesha is also often depicted as wielding an axe, an elephant goad, and or a lasso. And in some myths, the lasso was used to subjugate his giant rat. Also, yeah, the rat's giant sometimes. And thirdly, Ganesha is also associated with Modak. No, not that one. It's Modak. This is Modak with an A at the end. This is a form of Indian sweet dumpling which is made with coconut and sugar elements. Seems cool, but I'm not a big fan of coconut personally. Lastly, to tie things up, we should also discuss that Ganesha is often depicted as having a broken tusk, like almost always depicted that way. There are a lot of different recorded reasons as to why the tusk is broken, including just it was like that. But the story that is most relevant to FGO, trust me, we'll touch on this later, is that one night while riding on his mouse, Ganesha happened to fall over, and the moon laughed at him. Ganesha was not happy about this. In a rage, he tore off his own tusk and threw it at the moon, cursing it, causing it to wax and wane as we see now. And if you look at the moon during Ganesha's festival day, you will be cursed. So watch out for that, I guess. This will come back around, I promise. Now, an interesting bit of syncretism. In the Japanese schools of Buddhism, Ganesha, or often using the name Vinayaka, is synchronized as Kangiten, a protective deity who removes obstacles and defeats evil, but also brings earthly pleasures and material prosperity. All right, seems pretty important. Cool. Interestingly, while sometimes depicted as just a single elephant-headed god, Kangiten is often depicted as a dual deity, a male-female pair of elephant-headed gods. And depending on the myths and history, legends often described one of them as a malicious demon king until they were completed by their other half, forming the dual Kangiten. This may actually be related to why certain things are the way they are later on about Ganesha as a character in FGO. Because we know that Nasu and his friends are big Japanese Buddhism scholars. Okay, so, Fate lore. Being a full-blown divine spirit of the kind that can't usually be summoned, Ganesha is obviously represented in FGO as a pseudo-servant. Ganesha's vessel here is Jinako Carigiri, a character from Extra CCC, who is the Master of Karna. Yes, that's where she's from. Personality-wise, to summarize, Jinako has basically a similar disposition to Osakawa Hime normally. She is a huge shut-in and otaku, but a brilliant computer hacker. And in Extra, being a computer hacker also makes you a literal wizard. It's weird, okay? She also has a little bit of a self-doubt problem, and she locks herself in a virtual janitor's closet when the Moon Cell Holy Grail War starts, which leads to her eventual trip to the far side. Also, she's half German, apparently. Fun fact. It is explicitly noted that Jinako did not have the normal qualifications to be used as a vessel, so she didn't really have a lot in common with Ganesha. But Ganesha forcibly fused with her, altering their Saint Graph dramatically as a result. Chaldea's records lists her name as Jinako, but nobody can read the name. It's like scratched out or something, or glitched out, whatever. And she refers to herself as Ganesha, so most people in Chaldea will refer to her as Ganesha. This also may be why her initial ascension is the giant statue god, which it is. You'll see it later. There's also no definitive proof that the name of the divine spirit is actually Ganesha. In fiction, I mean. In the meta universe, it's got all Ganesha's skills and stuff and makes sense, so it's weird. Anyway, that said, with those Kangiten facts above, the idea of a male deity and female body doesn't really seem out of place. Fate's done weirder. You know, paired elephant gods, that kind of thing. Doesn't seem that strange. So personality-wise, the servant is mostly Jinako in terms of how she acts, but with a strong sense of duty buried deep in there somewhere, which may help to give her a bit more confidence. Act a little more boldly. You're Ganesha, remove her obstacles. You know what's an obstacle? Hands. Remove those for me. Anyway, the fun fact here is there's no exact explanation for why Ganesha is a MoonCancer, a class that was hitherto only seen on BB, but was never exclusive to her. That's not how classes work. And I was double vindicated by Summer Kiara. Anyway, there's several possible theories, some of which are directly outlined by FGO. The first is that the class container is caused by BB's interference. Fusing divine spirits with things is kind of her MO, But there's no specific reason why she should be tied to Ganesha or the Lost Belt plots where Ganesha appears as a character, any of that. This is even suggested in Ganesha's profile, but they do also go, but also that might be weird. Now, in CCC, Karna gives Jinako his armor, that super magical thing that reduces all harm, to protect her, and this prevents her from being deleted by the Moon Cell when the Holy Grail rule ends, so breaking the rules of the Moon Cell may mean that Jinako herself is inherently qualified to be a MoonCancer, because she broke the Moon rules. And as noted back in the history segment, Ganesha himself has quite an interesting relationship with the Moon, going back and forth there on various things, so fucking up the Moon may make you qualify as a MoonCancer inherently, throwing your tusk at it. Otherwise, having a mount and the writing skill, Ganesha probably counts as a writer normally. So, Ganesha / Jinako will be a major character in Lost Belt 4, as you can tell, by it being her debut. She's also likely to have some role in the Requiem collab, because she's a bonus servant. Also, they're playing board games, so that makes sense. But yeah, that was just me looking ahead. I'm going to guess she's going to come back in story when Requiem comes around. But yeah, there's not much else to get into the lore that we won't discuss with her mechanics and stuff. It's just an interesting little thing and another way to bring in a character who may not be known to everybody, because CCC didn't sell that well and was never localized. Alright, let's move to mechanics. Okie doke, Artichoke. Let's talk about those mechanics. So in terms of stats, Ganesha is weighted towards HP. A lot. A lot of HP. Not only does she have the most out of any MoonCancer, but overall, she has the highest HP of any servant in the game, currently, in JP. Not counting buffs, obviously. As a result, her attack is a little bit low. I mean, it's not quite, below the 4-star MoonCancer low, but, it's low. It's not great. So, she has a caster-style quick arts buster deck with high hit counts in all areas, and so a low NP gen number. Yeah, it's not great. Even for 4 hits, it's a little weak. I expect they're bargaining on you having a lot of arts chains there. So her NP is an arts AoE. It doesn't also have a lot of hits. They're really getting around that whole super spammy thing. We'll talk more about that later. That said, it does give her a 1-turn invincible. It heals based on overcharge, starting at 2k, and getting quite big if you can actually get the OC up. And also gives enemies 30% defense down for 3 turns before hitting them. So, it's a decent design package. It's enduring. You get an invul, you get a heal. You can get quite a big heal, which is good because she has a lot of HP. And with that 30% defense down before hit, that will actually slap pretty decently hard, assuming you're fully leveled. So, her first skill is a 10 to 20% battery for the team. Not a batter, as it says in my script notes, thanks me. Also gives up the same for attack up, so it's a charisma with a battery, and also gives 5 stars per turn for 3 turns, a very general team buff. Pretty typical shit. It is unfortunately a 6-turn cooldown, but, it's got a battery and stars in it. Second skill is a 1-turn taunt, 300% chance to target focus yourself. It also gives her, for 1 turn, a flat 1k damage cut. It's pretty cool for just a turn. And then also for 3 turns, a 20 to 30% attack up for herself. Pretty decent. This means that combined with those first 2, you got 50% attack. We'll talk more about that strategy later. The final skill is a targetable skill. This applies invul to 1 ally that you target. 20 to 30% NP gain for 1 turn, but also gives them skill seal. A little bit of a demerit. But it's on a 5-turn recharge, so it's pretty alright. Passives here are Magic Resistance A, so decent debuff resist. Writing A, so her 1 quick card will actually do pretty do. And Divinity B for that extra bit of damage. Okay, so design-wise, obviously, Jinako herself here slots into the stall and grind style for arts meta. She doesn't necessarily generate her NP the fastest on her own, but with 2 sources of invul, a self-heal, a big damage cut, and her HP pool, which, as I said, is literally the largest. She's more thick than Jean, even. She does not go down rapidly, either, unless you're being dumb and bring her to fight rulers or something. But anyway, class things are a whole different thing. So, you will have lots of time to build her NP and fire it, because she's not going to die easily, is what I'm getting at. While her normal attack is low, as a MoonCancer, she will probably be dealing neutral damage to most, and does have advantage versus Avengers, which can be fun. And with her 2 skills, she has an opportunity to cap out at 50% attack up for 3 turns for herself, and an additional 30% defense down for enemies, which is also for 3 turns in case you can get this looping. Which is like an 80% attack increase, which is pretty wild. This is one of those servants where if you actually, level all her skills and apply all her buffs, she's going to slap much harder than you think based on her attack stat. But only when you have those buffs up. If you do not have those buffs, you will not be slapping. So that is the primary strategy I can derive from this game design. It's supposed to assist you to building an NP, and also you don't die, and then hopefully you pop all your skills at once and you NP, so you will do way more damage than you should with that attack stat. So CE-wise, your focus here should be on NP and arts damage if you want to pad her low damage output and make her gain NP better. So you can go for CEs like Formal Craft, just make arts better. Also with her huge HP pool, Black Grail is a perfect choice here. Big NP output. She is also K-Scope compatible with her battery skill maxed. Her design isn't really there for a quick wave sweep, so you probably want to hold her for a boss wave or CQs where you need someone to survive a long time and keep dishing out damage. But, like I said, she has a 20% battery, you can put a vanilla K-Scope on her and she can fire it if you level that skill up. You can also try Poster Girl and other weird niche CEs you're aiming for stuff. You know, good for CQ-style fights. Give her Invols, Def Up, whatever, you know. You can put Volume In on there. You can put Necromancy on there. Whatever you think will give you that cool longevity type bonus. Now, team comp is also a very interesting thing, because obviously you have a damaging AoE NP, but most AoE types are not primary damage dealers. With her array of buffs and a taunt, Ganesha is definitely not a primary damage dealer, but is definitely a semi-support. You throw her in there to clear ads and soften up the boss, especially considering, remember, that 30% defense down is for anybody to use, with the added benefit of being so thick that if the boss kills your primary damage dealer, you don't necessarily wipe. The fight's not over. You will still have loads and loads of HP that the boss needs to chew through to actually get in there. And she can keep lots of other people alive, too. This means that you may be pairing her with any arts offense you like as you need. You know, a lot of people go for Vlad, or there's plenty of other single-target arts hitters you can use. And presumably, you can combo her with any of the mainstays of art stall support, Jean and Tamamo, who keep alive and speed the NP up process. And Tamamo can add some extra damage spice in there with her NP damage up and arts up as well. You could arguably do all this stuff to actually supercharge Jinako and have her do crazy high damage output with, like I said, that potential 80% attack up. But yeah, you're probably going to be using like one support, one semi-support to bully the ads, and then Jean, Tamamo, whatever to keep it alive. Kazgil, you know, maybe has another semi-support. Now, interestingly, she can also work well with any generic challenge quest team because her own buffs are completely situation agnostic. They're all just attack up and defense down and stuff, and then taunts and invols, you know. NP gain up as well. That's just universal. Everybody wants attack and everybody wants NP gain. Stars per turn isn't shy either, though it's not a lot. Could use a buff maybe on that skill. This can also work if you're doing some sort of Avengers Must Die comp. She plays perfectly well with all her fellow MoonCancers. All of the present and future MoonCancers we know about will work with her generically arts and generically buffed concept. You can make arts chains, you can use her NP, you can use her support skills and stuff. It'll all be fine. So if there's an Avenger boss who ends up really annoying you, this team works. And also, when Castoria comes out, forcing an arts servant to fire their NP over and over again will not be an issue, so you can also just supercharge Ganesha that way and go nuts. Now, being a MoonCancer, thank goodness, her mats aren't a pain in the ass. You know, a lot of these extra classes are going to be weird. Hers aren't. She just needs a combo of Lancer Caster statues for Ascension. Okay, pretty simple. Maybe a little spicy because you got to do two at once, but fairly standard stuff. No weird materials or anything. It's mostly the same for her skill levels, but those last couple do need combos of rings, bells, mirrors, and scarabs. So watch out if you're going for the full beans there. Luckily, she doesn't need any brand new mats, at least. Haha. Now, Ganesha will have a raid up on the initial Lost Belt for Yuxera banner, after which she will be permanently added to the summoning pool, so you can be spooked at any time! Yay! Other than that, Jinako will get a slot in future Valentine's rotations, because, remember, her name is written as Jinako and she's classed as female. It's a little weird. Also, there will be that one weird AoE-only servant banner, so she'll be on that. But she is also part of the pre-release campaign for the Fate Requiem collab I mentioned before. She's a bonus servant in that, and she's on one of the banners. So that's pretty neat. And that's all, folks. Time for some snacks. So, we're going to wind down yet another Wanted. Hope you appreciated this. I gotta go, turn around and immediately go do another one, because we got, a week before Arjuna Altar comes out, so I gotta go do that one. That'll be great and fun. And not weird in any way. Thanks, Altars. But I'll see you then, obviously. And if you didn't see it already, please go back and watch Let's Deck FGO, where we do the Lost Belt 4 pregame to gear you up to complete Lost Belt 4. Check it out. It's a good show. It was live streamed. Lucky did art on stream. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. Like I said, let's go get some snacks. So, if you liked this video, be sure to give it a like. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section down below. And, of course, you can also join our Discord. That link is, as always, in the video description and on our channel page. Join our Discord, it's fun. You can also subscribe to our channel to get more wanted videos, like that Arjuna one I talked about that's coming up, as well as our regular podcast, Let's Talk FGO. We talk about FGO every week. Let you know the news, the haps, discuss the story and stuff. It's fun. Call your friends. Sub now. And even if you're already subscribed, make sure to hit that bell for notifications. You always know when we post a new video, like when Omega always posts one in the middle of the night because of banners and maintenance and stuff. It's a cool way to, like, get meme views, guys. Watch the video during maintenance. It's guaranteed luck. Everybody swears by it in the comments. In fact, if you're not, like, literally the first person watching this video, check the comments right now. I bet there's somebody saying that Wanted was their catalyst. It's official. So hit your bell for notifications so you get your catalyst right away when it comes out. And, of course, you can consider joining our channel. Joining our channel memberships, get access to some stuff, it's cool. And like it said at the front of the show, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to this video early, at least by a couple of days, if not longer. Get access to topic polls and stuff and lots of other goodies. And it really helps us out. And that's everything. See you next time. I could go for some sweet bread right about now.